Yeah. Big shout out to Gully TV. You heard it first. Kareem Reed, Fayetteville, Arkansas. You know what it is. Gully TV.
Back this nigga down. I'm telling you. If you tuned in to me, you're watching Gully TV. I have a special guest here. This man right here standing next to me is a basketball legend. When I say basketball legend, his name is spoken by basketball legends. So welcome to the show, Schea Cotton.
Appreciate you for having me, bro. Absolutely.
No doubt. I know that you're probably tired of hearing this over and over, but you've been often compared to LeBron James growing up. Was that body size, style of play? Explain the comparison.
I think it was a combination, my prowess, the size, the stature,
right,
athleticism, and just the pure dominance.
Okay. Did you ever play against him?
Never. No, I think I'm like 5 years older, somewhere in there, maybe even a little older than that.
Okay.
Yeah, so different generation.
So the McDonald's All-American?
Correct.
Who was in your class?
Man, I'm trying to think. I played Kevin Garnett, Vince Carter, Stephon Marbury, Ron Mercer, Paul Pierce. All these guys I saw in the AAU circuit.
So you are right around that legendary draft class. 98 was a legendary draft class, right?
Right.
Kobe and all of those guys.
Right.
So you would have, had you went to the league, you probably would have been in that draft class?
Correct.
Okay. So all of those guys that was in that draft class, you played against them growing up?
Yeah, pretty much all of them, yeah.
No doubt. What high school did you play for?
I went to Mater Dei and then finished at St. John Bosco.
Mater Dei has a rich history in sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me some of the past players who played there.
Mike Hopkins played at Syracuse with Billy Owens, Derek Coleman.
Right.
He's the coach at Washington right now, the head coach. LeBron Ellis.
Okay.
Tom Lewis, Stanley Johnson as of late. They got a kid just went to Will something. He just played in Nebraska. Myself, Miles Simon, who played in the NBA briefly, University of Arizona. He's with the Lakers now as assistant.
He's the NCAA champion.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And several others, just a lot of guys that go D1 but may not play pro ball.
Right.
But it's a powerhouse. Every year they rank top 25 USA Today, and my coach Gary McKnight is the winningest coach in California.
What was y'all record when you were there?
Well, I did 2 years. I want to say we lost 3 games tops in 2 years. So I'd say we won close to 70 games.
Who beat you in high school?
Oak Hill got us, and Crenshaw High School here in LA.
Oh yeah, Crenshaw was strapped. Who they had? Tayshaun somebody?
They had Tommy Davis.
Okay.
They had Tremaine Folks. They had Ronnie Arch. They had Leon Watts. They had a squad, and they were all upperclassmen. I was underclassmen.
Okay.
Growing up in the city, I knew how to handle the 90 feet of pressure.
Was that a big deal playing against Crenshaw?
It was at that time.
So that's the hood school?
Yeah, I mean in the city, like they in your face for the whole game, full court, pressure, and either you handle it or you bust. So I was ready for that matchup, but it was some questionable referee in that game. So
when you play a school like Crenshaw High School, is they said tripping on the basketball court?
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, I would think so. But I'm from this era, so for me, it was like I'm right at home. I mean, they knew coming into the game that they had to stop me to win. So
no doubt.
I kind of took the team on my back because I think there was a fear factor with some of my teammates.
Did anybody ever defend you 94 feet?
Not necessarily. I think defensively, all the time. Boxing one, triangle and twos.
Was it anybody chasing you that you can recall that was like harassing you? Like, man, I get this dude.
Yeah, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. He was definitely a hound. Kobe was he matched my intensity and my rec. I like to call it. That level. He just kept coming, and then at some point he realized they wasn't gonna win the game. I got the better.
Did y'all defend each other?
We did.
So
rest in peace.
What did he do?
He did good, but I did better. So
did he get 25?
He probably got about 20, 27, I think, somewhere in there, and I had close to 40. So we won. Yeah, rest in peace, though. That's my man.
Okay. I know that you mentioned Billy Owens. I didn't know that your basketball knowledge went back that far. That was somebody else's name who was mentioned.
Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Carlisle state champions.
That's
he was mentioned when your name came up. Is that because of your skill set or again, size? Billy was kind of big in college.
Yeah. I think he was about 6'8", I believe. I think just my style, I was inside out,
Right.
you know, very versatile. I could handle the ball. I had all the intangibles with the skill set, with motor.
You were southpaw.
Absolutely. We think with the right side of my brain, you know what I mean?
Okay, what was your career high in high school?
I had 40 several times. And I think on my birthday at 12, I had 50. So that probably would have been my high.
Right.
But it was the way I scored my points. It wasn't so much 60, 70, you know, DeJuan Wagner's dropping crazy numbers in high school. It was the way I approached the game, which you saw me do on the floor that really stood out.
So what is these drop step dunks? I've seen a lot of dunks. I've watched your highlights. So the drop step weapon, was that what it was?
And the post, I mean, it didn't matter who was guarding.
Was you wearing that number 4 for a reason?
Yeah, I was big on Ron Harper. I was big on Chris Webber. You know, I was big on guys that had the it factor.
No doubt.
And they laid it on the line. And I think those two guys definitely represented that. Michael Finley as well.
Okay, Finley.
At Wisconsin when he was with the Badgers before the draft. Yeah, he was a dog.
Did you participate in any dunk contests in high school?
I did. I did a Nike camp, I believe my junior year. That was 96. It was me, Corey Benjamin, Ronnie Fields out of Chicago, who was a real leaper. You know, a lot of guys
was he
talk.
getting up there, man?
Oh, he had a 50-inch and he didn't even work on his legs. So yeah, he flew gracefully.
Yeah.
And that's my man. Shout out to Ronnie Fields.
Shout out to Ronnie Fields. That's someone else that I would love to have on the show. This platform is for guys like you whose story need to be told. You're well spoken of by your peers. They represent you, believe me. But I wasn't aware of your story. And in regards to your opportunity to go straight to the league from high school, you had the opportunity, right?
Right.
In retrospect, between me and you, what was the reason that you didn't go? Did you feel you wasn't ready physically?
Not at all. I think I suffered an injury in my junior year, tore my shoulder against Lamar Odom in one of the biggest AAU summer tournaments, to Long Beach NIT.
Right.
I never really been hurt, you know, and this was my shooting arm that I tore. I tore my rotator cuff, so I had to have reconstruction.
Right.
And that changed it a little bit for me because I think a little bit of the momentum from the media kind of drifted a little bit, and it went towards Paul and Barron locally in the city, because I had to basically sit down for almost a year.
Right.
You know, I was a McDonald's All-American, wasn't able to play.
You sitting down elevated Paul and Diddy.
Right.
No, Diddy's one of my favorite players from out here.
Yeah.
You played in the Drew League?
Oh yeah. I started at the beginning before it became more commercialized what it is now. It was more raw then. I averaged about 30 a game.
So give me some names of the guys who played in the Drew League. Y'all, give me the LA version of street ball players. Give me y'all Skip to my Lou. I mean, y'all God, Sham God. West Coast.
Yeah, but I don't think. I think Barron in our era is probably one of the most electrifying PGs out of our city.
Facts.
A guy that people don't maybe talk about as much, that was the dog out of all of them, was Kenny Bruner, my point guard, who played at Georgetown. Yeah, everybody
so you played with Bad Santa.
Oh yeah, that was my PG in high school. After the guards in the Big East, yeah, he led the Big East in steals and assists as a freshman. So, and he wasn't from DC, so he was from out here. And people need to understand, like, coming from the West going East doing that is bigger than people give it credit for. Because at that time, we weren't respected as we are today in basketball.
Right.
I think it was more East Coast dominated, and they felt like we didn't have the skills and the toughness to keep up.
The last few years, they've been counting.
Yeah.
They've been counting. They make it a point of saying that California is now the basketball factory as far as NBA players. You know, you got Paul Pierce, James Harden. You know, all your guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole bunch of them now. So the narrative has definitely changed over the years. Let's talk sneakers, man. You played 37 straight games in high school with a different pair of shoes.
Yep.
You didn't have no phobias about it. And when I say phobias and shit, I like to play in old sneakers. Play the sneaks I've been dogging for a minute. I'll be attached to them. You know what I'm saying? And I almost I don't know if I'm ready to put them on yet.
Right.
But you was doing it every night. It wasn't no...
Nah, no issue. I think it was a mystique to it. I had kind of like these routines I would go through. I either got a shape up or a cut before every game. You know, I would shave my legs because I was always getting my ankle taped, and I got tired of ripping the hair off. So I would do that, keep it fresh. And it was like a great feeling to be able to put a new pair of shoes on that's latest and greatest, that's not even really out in the store, from the Pippins to the Barkleys to the Jordans. I mean, Andre Agassi's, you name it. Like,
Yeah.
I wore a different pair every game.
What's your favorite ball shoe?
Jordan 5s.
5s?
Yeah, because it's light, you know, durable, just soft, just a really good feeling shoe. And
You was on that in high school?
Oh yeah, it's in the documentary wearing the sneakers too. I watched Jordan play. I was more of a Ron Harper guy early in his career.
Yeah, Harper liked that. Yeah,
but Jordan I respected because obviously he was more dominant than anybody.
So, what was the national ranking of you guys when y'all played Kobe Bryant?
At that time, I think I was one of the top players in the country. I want to say I was like top 5, somewhere in there. Kobe was on the rise. He came on late in high school. I think he developed and really kicked it into that last year, and that senior year going into the league.
Right.
And he would work out, in Philly in the summer with Eddie Jones and them.
Right.
Down in Philly or whatever with the Sixers. And so when me and him met, I heard about him, but I didn't know too much.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter. I mean, I had played against so many guys. I had played so much basketball at that point. It was just like, all right, this is the latest and greatest. Let's see where we are. The ball goes up. Everybody's on the same playing field.
Right.
I was a pit bull off a muzzle. I mean, they compared me to Jordan and Barkley together, mixed. So imagine that on the floor. Check it out.
Yeah. So he didn't raise any. He didn't raise any suspicion as he's getting his 25, his 27 points. He's 6'5" at the time. 6'6".
Yeah.
You're not saying. Had you seen better at that point?
Did you
see people, or did you compete against someone who you felt was better at that point? But then again, you said you didn't really know his resume.
Right.
Okay.
He was coming on the scene. I was already a national figure at that time. I mean, ESPN had me regularly. Everybody, Street and Smith, they all knew on a national level.
Right.
Because in that camp, I was one of the only guys from Cali. It was me and I think one of the Collins twins who wound up playing in the NBA, both of them.
Right.
And they played with me in our AAU club also. So when I met Kobe, it was more of, I'm from the West, you claiming Philly or whatnot. You thought I was coming, I was going to be soft, and I went right at him. It was like, he matched the intensity, and he kept it up. So
do you feel that, not to cut you off, do you feel that East Coast basketball players receive y'all as being soft?
I think some guys, I think when they got a bar of me, that changed real fast. So, it didn't really matter. I played on both coasts. But, I mean, I grew up in a different era, and my mentality was more, I did construction as a kid with my dad. So it was get to it. It was no prima donna in it. It was like, you do it well, and you do it longer than everybody else. So
why did your name just blow up exponentially when you got to the AAU circuit? Because that's where I heard you did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Is that was your world tour?
Absolutely. In high school, got little glimpses, man. They got snippets. But the AAU scene was my coming out party, because I knew that in order to be considered the best, you got to beat the best all over the country.
Right.
So when we were going to AAU tournaments, that was my whole thing. Number one, I wanted to win every game we played, and I wanted to do things on the floor that couldn't be emulated.
Right. Is that how you encountered Lamar Odom, AAU, or it was a high school game?
Yeah, AAU. He played at Riverside Church and Long Island Panthers, and we would see each other frequently throughout.
Riverside. How many times you played against Riverside? That's big business right there.
I played against Riverside 2 or 3 times and played with them after I, gave them work a few times. With ARC, we were the first West Coast team to win Boo Williams. We dropped down there. I think I dropped 38 in Hampton U. So. Great experience, man. Great program.
Was the DC assault program around at the time?
They were just coming around, but they weren't really known at that point.
Yeah.
I think the top clubs were pretty much out of Baltimore. They had Cecil Kirk. DC assault was coming on. DeMar Johnson and that crew was coming up, but he was still younger than me, so I didn't really catch that buzz. It was more Riverside Church, the Bronx Gauchos out of New York also, and then our club, Southern California All-Stars. And then you had like K-Swiss Pacers in LA, which was Paul Pierce and Barron's program.
Okay.
And there was like scattered teams throughout the country. Houston had a sector. I think Stack played with them, Houston Hoops. But at that time on the West Coast, it was us.
Did you encounter or play against DC basketball players at all? I'm saying this because I have a large DC audience that follows my platform. They wear them high-ass socks way up here on their legs.
Absolutely.
And they claim possession of the crossover dribble. They claim that.
Yeah.
If you talk to them, they vocal about it.
Right.
So have you encountered the DC guy?
I have. I know a lot of them, man. Guys like Frank McQueen, guys like I'm drawing a blank, but Sir Valiant Brown, Victor Page,
VP. I interviewed.
You know, a lot of guys. I did my history. I watched Maryland play X-Ray Hip and Walt Williams, the Wizard. So, and I would master it. It was slow, up high, and it kind of dropped like a little shake, and then drag you this way.
Yeah.
I would master it, man. You know, because it lures you to sleep. It's deceiving.
Yeah.
And the way they play is the same way.
Yeah.
You don't think when they're moving with the rock, they're kind of methodical, and then all of a sudden they just hit you and go.
Yeah.
You don't think they can do some of the stuff they can do.
No doubt. No doubt. Shout out to DC.
Absolutely.
So when you got to AAU, you just tearing everybody up. Is there like rankings? It's AAU rankings.
Right.
Was y'all nationally ranked?
Oh yeah, our AAU team was top in California, and we were up there in the country. I mean, my AAU coach, we probably lost maybe 3 games in like 3 years.
Right.
And we played almost 200 games at that time.
You played against Casey Jacobson?
He was younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
He could shoot it though.
Yeah, he could shoot like a motherfucker. I'm trying to figure out, based on your demographic, what basketball players around, what white killers was around, what white boys you played against.
In California?
In California, and then we'll go to the AAU. But
Well, Chris Burgess out here was the big deal that went to Duke, but he played with us. So he played on my AAU team also. We had more of the premier players out of Southern California. But on a national scale, Chris Herron was a little older than me. A guy out of New York at that time, Long Island, Willie Dersh, was like one of the great white hypes. They were pushing out of New York, and he played with Riverside Church also. There wasn't a whole lot, but the ones that I ran across, they would stand out.
Right.
You know, Luke Recker, I think out of Indiana.
I remember Luke Recker.
He's another one.
Definitely.
Yeah, he had bounce and could shoot it too.
Yeah.
There was a few guys. Yeah, there was a few.
All right. Now the situation where you decided not to go to the NBA, you were faced with college. When you got there, was it a dyslexia situation? Is that how you would describe your situation?
Well, I had ADD, and the visual auditory learning was different for me. So I think I did better in college than I did in high school, because it was kind of like more controlled,
right?
And I could get the extra attention, with tutors and stuff.
Hands-on, yeah.
So it made a big difference, because I didn't realize I was ADD till junior year in high school.
Right. Okay, so what steps did y'all take to combat that? Because it obviously stunted your growth in regards to where you was going. Once you declared that you weren't going to go to the league, your only path to the league was academically.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So what did y'all do to combat this?
Well, first of all, I didn't do anything wrong academically. I handled my business. I had a 3.5 graduating out of high school. So I got tutors, and then I received some psychiatry help, psychological help.
Right.
Because I was going through some changes mentally after having the injury and then being diagnosed with this. It was like it became public knowledge, So I got the help and just learned how to process differently.
Got it.
And I would get extra time for like homework assignments and stuff. But the test was more about anxiety. It wasn't that I wasn't processing it. It was like I could study, I get to the test, and all of a sudden I draw a blank.
Right.
So I had to work through that. It was more the anxiety. Where's it coming from? Let's cut through it. And I got the help, and it helped later on in life.
While all of this is going on, where did you work out at and stay in shape basketball-wise? Because you're still fashioning yourself to be a professional athlete.
Right.
How did you stay in shape in between time?
Local YMCA that I would train at, another gym close to the house. Me and my brother would do workouts together. I trained with my trainer, Mark Marinovich. I did all my therapy, for my shoulder with my cousin, who was a big-time PT in Orange County. And I stayed quiet, and it made me hungry, because a lot of the writers started writing me off, and I saw a lot of the fan base start to gravitate to the latest and greatest, and that drove me more when I got back on the floor to prove myself all over again.
No doubt. You played against, they named, in a video that I watched online, they named like a resume of people that you dealt with. What was it like playing against Paul Pierce?
At that time, it was great, because I was the one reigning supreme. I mean, I drove a lot of my peers to become what they became as professional ball players from our city. So At that time, it was good because they was all trying to stop me.
If you was getting at him, saying, man, I was dog.
Yeah,
Niggas,
I
man.
mean, they know. You know what I mean? They know. Like I'm not so much that type of guy because I tell people if I start talking about my resume, it sounds like bragging. But these are the hard facts because I didn't have social media.
They saying it for you though. They
Yeah.
saying it for because I wouldn't be aware of your story had you not been mentioned by a couple of other ball players. But this is the platform, man. You can let your nuts hang here, man. You was giving them niggas 30s and 40s.
Right.
Say it. Say
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, it was getting that work. I mean, for about a 5-6 year period, you know, Paul was basically like somebody that was trying to catch what I was doing. He was trying to catch me.
Right.
You know, and I was reigning supreme in our city, and you know, they're considering me one of the top 3 best ever,
Right.
you know, to come out of here. And that's including him and Barron and some of the guys that made a bunch of money to date
Right.
in the NBA. So go figure.
No doubt. Had you went to college, you had a chance to play on the same squad as Diddy, right?
Right.
Who all would have been y'all starting 5 as you had?
Well, I was at UCLA with Barron, Earl Watson, Billy Knight, rest in peace, he passed away, Travis Reed. I think Toby Bailey was still on that team. Jelani McCourtney had just went to the draft. We had a squad. Kriston Johnson was still there.
So you going there almost as they're coming off a national championship.
Yeah, they were expecting us to win it. I mean, we had the top recruiting class in the country at the time. So I think it was a combination of things, but I was never able to suit up there. The interesting thing is I still have my jersey. Somebody sent it to me in the mail.
Right.
I was number 10 at that time. So,
okay.
But it never happened. I always say, what could have happened that never was.
No doubt. They have a list of, I don't know, in every city, local street ball legends. When you was coming up, who was somebody that you probably would encounter at the playground that he's not going to school, he's not going to college, and he going to hustle when he leave the basketball court, as a matter of fact. Who was some of those guys that you were playing against?
I mean, to be honest with you, like, when I played on the street, I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
And then when I started developing a name, I had to protect my joints because remember, I was flying. So at that time out here, it wasn't as prominent playing outside.
Yeah.
We played indoors. So I would be at UCLA in the men's gym running with Magic and all the NBA players. And I'm the only high school player in the building. So I'm playing against Eddie Jones, Grant Hill in their prime, you know, running with Kenny Anderson. One of New York City's finest, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
You know, and all the latest and greatest NBA players. I'm checking them, going at them, holding my own in games to 10. Right. I'm scoring 4 and 5 points, running next to Magic. So I was like, I was on my way. My confidence was at an all-time high.
Would you say that, based on what we're seeing now, is it easier to get to the league now? We've seen LeVar Ball basically just circumvent the whole process.
Right.
Then you have the D League, and you got a lot of leagues. It's a lot easier now.
Absolutely, because you got the social media component,
right?
And then you have all these other avenues. You know, you got the G League and stuff like that. The money they're paying in America is big for our players coming up. We didn't have that, so if you to make the league, you had to go overseas. The CBA was like peanuts.
Yeah.
And I did all of them, all the minor league circuits, and I'm saying to myself, there needs to be a better alternative. So I'm glad to see for the younger players coming up that they have the option to stay home and still make 6 figures.
So when you said it has to be a better opportunity, you basically saying the G League is that opportunity?
I believe so, yeah, because it's a faster track to the league where you're not so disconnected playing overseas in Europe or whatnot, and you still can make good money or and support yourself and your family.
Did you play overseas?
I did.
Teammates, anybody that I would know?
Well, guys I played against when I was in Serbia, Vladimir Radmanovic, you remember that name? Played with the Lakers and the Clippers.
Yeah.
So he was one of the top players in Serbia at that time. It was him, and there was another guy, I can't think of the name. The Croatians and the Serbians, man, they're like the toughest players out of Europe. Yeah, it's them and the Russians.
Okay.
So we'd see them, and it was a dogfight.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the closest thing that we would get to playing against brothers in America because they won't back down, tough-minded. They usually go through the Army 2 or 3 years, so they got the discipline and the structure. And that was the closest thing to the NBA for me. I'm playing in the EuroLeague. It's the second best league in the world.
No doubt. What were some of your numbers over there?
I played against Maccabi Tel Aviv in like 12 minutes. I remember I had like 18 and 7. And then I don't play for 3 games. So I'm saying to myself, wow, this doesn't happen in the NBA. So there's those little idiosyncrasies in Europe, you become disconnected, you know, and if you're not being exposed right, your mental kind of goes like this.
Is there politics associated with our sports? I mean, with our sport, with basketball, is there politics like what you just mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a part of it?
Absolutely. I think if you're not put in the right light, or at least in the right position on the floor, nobody will succeed to their highest level. I mean, if you put LeBron in a position and you don't give him the ball and you don't run plays for him, he'll still score, but he's not going to look like the guy you see today.
Right.
So that's what people need to understand. There's a level of marketing, and then there's the product, and then they come together, and then you have consistency. That's what separates good from great.
What would you call your natural position?
Small forward, Kobe's position. Yeah, the
You
three.
can't hold on.
Yeah. He's laughing.
You consider Kobe a small forward?
Yeah. What he did.
After all what he did, you consider him a small forward? So you consider Mike a small forward?
Yep.
For
Because
real?
they did inside out. You know, Kobe shot it better than Jordan, but they attacked the basket, you know, and they mastered the mid-range.
True.
You know, that three-quarter post, I mean, Kobe was deadly in it, and he learned it from Mike. So, you know, and I studied Mike, and I played against Kobe, and my brother played against Mike, and he told me, he was like, you know, you guys were the same size. He felt like I had more of an arsenal of moves than even Jordan did. And me and my brother trained together every day.
Right.
You know, and he was one of the top defenders in the Big West before he got drafted. So we were historians. We weren't just basketball players. Like, I studied the game, I watched a lot of film, and then I went and emulated things that I learned.
No doubt. What was your favorite game that you can recall out here? A game on your resume that you just blacked out? What's your signature game?
Probably the game I tore my shoulder against Lamar Odom in that tournament, the Long Beach NIT.
What quarter did you hurt yourself?
The end of the third, and I had about 40, so I was looking at 60 that night. And, you know, Biggie and Pac was in a big beef, so Long Island Panthers coming in the gym, they get banged on by the local hoods, you know, they in the gym screaming West Side, and then playing Pac, you know, we had the DJ there. It was heavy, man, it was intense.
Right.
It was packed out, standing room only, probably 3,000 people in the gym. Now, mind you, this is before social media, so if you wanted to see me, you had to come watch.
Right.
And if you're lucky enough to film, then you had that footage. But a lot of my stuff I couldn't recoup, so the documentary that's out right now on my life, a lot of people ain't seeing the AAU stuff that you've heard about.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell me about the documentary. How long was it? How long did y'all go about, you know, filming, recording?
The process probably took about 8 years in total, from the discussion of it to the production, the completion, the editing, the whole deal. It took 4 years to distribute once it was completed in 2016.
Right.
It's now available today as we speak on Amazon, iTunes, Prime Video, and every platform where you can get content.
Initially, it was supposed to go to actual movie theaters, right?
Right. There was talk of Netflix wanted to buy it initially, and then I felt like if they're willing to buy it for, you know, I think it was $1.25 million at that time. In my head, I said, well, if they're willing to pay for that much up front for this product, it's worth a lot more.
They know they're gonna
get the return. It's worth a lot more. So business-wise, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna pack it in, protect it, and just focus on the marketing internally, and bring all the basketball people in the culture to the table so they can experience it, the youth, locally, which is what we did. We screened it at LA Film Festival 2016, 4,200 films. They ranked the top 5.
No doubt. No fucking doubt. Good job.
Appreciate
Good
you.
job. How are your peers receiving the film?
I think everybody is pleased with it. A lot of people are probably surprised that the quality is where it is, the level of it. It's very professional. My production team, our True Group, did a great job. They brought my vision to life, and they'll do a lot more in the near future. And I think people can look to the story and say, you know, if it didn't happen for me, nobody's guaranteed. And I think that's what I want them to take from it.
Tell me about your butterfly games. I know you'll remember them because we never forget them. What game was you like shook until you got out there and gave a nigga 30 clip?
I think, you know, I think most of the games when I stepped on the floor at a national level, and even Nike camp, every time I stepped on the floor was that little pregame jitter before the tip. And once the ball went up, I said, lock and load. You know,
No doubt. So those camps, you went to the Nike camps and all of those. They giving y'all rank. Y'all were ranked going into the camps, and then they give a ranking after.
Exactly.
How did that work out for you?
It always worked out good. I was ready. It was like 3 years in a row. You know, Nike Camp All-American, and you know they were ecstatic to have me because Adidas was trying to pull me away, and you know Sonny Vaccaro was over there, but I was loyal to Nike, and I still to this day, I love Nikes. I mean, Adidas has come a long way. I love the boots that they're making, but you know, I'm a Nike guy through and through. So for me, it was like, I mean, you got to remember at that time, AAU, we were the first team to have a Nike deal of $180,000 for 3 months of basketball.
What was the name of the program?
Southern California All-Stars.
The first to get a Nike deal.
On the West Coast, for sure.
So y'all going to games with the kicks and the warm-ups and shit.
The whole look. It was intimidating. And our lineup, every guy on the starting five played D1 ball pretty much.
Damn.
You know.
State championships?
I won my 95 year, we won Modern Day State Championship, CIF State Player of the Year. I was John Wooden Player of the Year. Never been done since in the state of California as a sophomore become State Player of the Year.
So did y'all nearly repeat? Y'all lost your second year?
Yeah, well actually our first year we lost to Crenshaw, so we should have won a CIF title that year also.
Who was on Crenshaw?
That was Kriston Johnson, that was Tremaine Folks, Tommy Davis, Ronnie Yards. They had a squad.
Right.
But I felt we should have beat them. But like I said, the refereeing was a little questionable. And this game was...
That was a home game for them?
No, it was a mutual. It was at the Honda Center in Anaheim, which was the Arrowhead Pond Inn.
Right.
On KCAL, national television in their state, in front of about 19,000 people.
Word.
Big at that time.
Word. What would you consider the biggest game you ever played in?
Locally, that game. On a national level, probably the game in Vegas against KG that when Paul flew KG in to try to beat us. And I had about 38 that game. We lost by like 5 or 7. You know, my team just was flat. Couldn't get a little extra help to put us over the hill, but I did my thing.
So you defending KG in high school?
Not necessarily, because he was running like that 4-5 spot. Jelani McCoy on my team was our center. He was checking him, but yeah, I dunked on KG about 3 times in that game. So and he knows. Yeah, shouts out to Big Ticket.
Give me your body count. Who all you funked on in your day?
Man, I caught Ron Mercer. I caught KG. I caught Lamar Odom. I mean, I caught pretty much everybody that was checking me at one point or another, or somebody off a tip dunk. I mean, I had them sneaky hops, and I got up quick. I mean, I had a 41-42, so I was flying for a little while.
No doubt. When the last time you picked up the rock? You look like you in shape. You play?
Yeah, not no more. I got hit by a truck recently, so I'm going through a lot of different tests and visits, doctor visits. Yeah, but I haven't played in probably like 6 years.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So how you staying in shape? You just want to the gym?
Yeah, going to the gym. I do a lot of whatever I can do in my body capacity.
Yeah.
You know.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Do you have a favorite player?
Today?
Yeah.
I think I have a few. I take pieces. I love what Trae Young's doing, what he's bringing to the table. I love what John Morant does.
Last night.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I stayed up late to watch it.
Do you think he can pull that off?
Anything is possible. I'll say this. He's going to be special because not only is he quick, but he elevates on his shot. So you got to get to it in time, and he's got a quick trigger too.
Got heart too.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, I saw that in him, high school and college. So you get in the right position once again,
right?
And now his talent's flourishing.
Have you gave any thought about coaching? Is that something that interests you?
I have had an AAU team over the last several years. May get back into the fold here in the next few months, but. You know, I'm a mentor, so I wear a lot of hats. I think my real work is getting through the kids and developing that inner toughness and the mental, and understanding that, getting rid of the sense of entitlement.
Right. Have you ever encountered and met LeBron James face to face?
I haven't.
You've never seen him?
No, I met with his people. We sat down with the documentary before it was released, but never met him personally.
Whenever y'all meet, that's gonna be really something. Whenever y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. We cross paths.
I know he know you. He been hearing about you forever. He don't seem like a Hollywood guy like that. He gonna fuck with you and encounter you.
Right. You have to. I mean, you in my city. You know, at the end of the day, you can't play ball for too long without your name coming up. You know?
Right. It's been a pleasure having
Appreciate
you,
you,
Schea.
bro. Absolutely.
Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to checking out the film myself. And if you had a top 5, my last question, if you had a top 5 basketball players from Southern California, who would they be?
Man, great question. From high school or just period?
Period.
Man, put me on the spot.
So if Byron Scott is in there, don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna feel no type of way because that's my man. I love the Lakers.
Yeah, B. Scott is, but I mean, this is rich history now.
Yeah.
You know, this is rich history, and I'm a Laker. That's my era. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a Laker guy all through and through. I hate to say it, but he doesn't make the lineup. You know, I'd probably go John Hot Plate Williams, Raymond Lewis, myself, Barrett Davis, you know, Paul Pierce, and Tyson Chandler. I had to put 6 in there.
I couldn't remember the name, but Raymond Lewis is the street guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He like a hustler or something like that?
Yeah, he was like hustling when he was hooping or whatnot.
Right.
But I mean, he got an opportunity to play in the league and the whole
I
nine.
heard about.
He got a documentary.
Yeah, I heard about. The whole time that we've been sitting here, I was trying to recall
Mm-hmm.
the older gentleman name who's regarded as like one of the kings out here,
Yep.
and it's Raymond Lewis.
Yep.
No doubt. Schea, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Make sure you check me out online, The Real Gully TV. We out.
No doubt.
Yeah.